Okay, all you Drak flyers, I'm going to go over a couple quick things for you here on my FPV version of the Drak. Now, I keep seeing people talking about the center wall and how I didn't send them the right piece for that. Well, the center wall, all it is about 1 inch or so of the rear of the block cut off, stuck in sideways, and then glued in. And when you do is when you put the lids on, you just draw the center of where the lids go, make a mark on each side after you put the lids on, and then when you come in here and glue this in, I add a little hot glue on both sides, I slide it in, and then I just add a little goop on all the sides. Then once it's closed, you can have, once you have these nubs out, you mark where the holes need to be, and once you have where the holes need to be on both sets of lids, then you open it up, you find out where the pin mark is, and then I take a little tiny hot wire after heating it with the torch, and I melt those out, and then I sink those nubs in there. So I also see a little bit of talk about hinging the door and all this stuff. Well, this door was hinged about 10 million closes ago, and it has not, the hinge is not degraded, and I haven't had any single problems with it. So I do that, and this is the way I do my hinges. And if you ever do have a problem with this, and this hinge breaks right there, you know what? Take it off the rest of the way, slice it, and put a tape hinge on this and hinge it. But as far as having one whole huge lid that's removable, personally, I really don't like that. And the reason is I'm counting on this lid to hold the front of the aircraft and the strength all together as one. So what I usually do is this exactly. I take this lid, and I take a piece of 440 or a piece of 256, and in the last flute on the front part of the lid that stays down, I stick a piece of 440 rod in there. And what I do is, in the airframe, I line it up, I mark a couple holes, and then I sink a couple holes in the airframe, and then I goop or hot glue these down in there. So what I do is I take the lid, I have everything redone, I mean everything ready to go. I have the lid pre-fit. I have the holes in here for the rod to go down in. And what this does is if this battery gets bounced or a hard landing, the battery bouncing up doesn't rip any of this. So then I glue the lid down the perimeter with hot glue, and I hold it down until it cures. And then once it's cured, I run goop all the way around. Now this is going to hold your battery in, and this is why I don't use Velcro straps or go crazy trying to keep the battery in the front, because the front of this airplane has been held together with this extreme amount of glue, the hooks that go into the aircraft, and then I slide my battery in a wedge, and then I just slide this tight wedge in right behind it and stick it down with Velcro in the bottom of the hole. So the battery slides in, this goes behind it, and then you're done. So, and as far as, you know, as far as the nose piece here, all I did was lay the cameras on the wing, because when this airplane flies, it flies at about the same angle that it sits on the table at. You're going to want your camera about 3 or 4 degrees of down, and I mount those cameras at that angle, and it's a very, very nice flight angle. So if you mount these cameras to this angle and have them facing at that angle, it's a very, very nice angle to go down and fly at. I also saw you guys are putting O-rings. All I ever do to keep those nuts and bolts in is I put a piece of black tape across the back. I poke a couple holes in there, or a little nice slice with the razor, and then I push them through, and it does the same thing that you guys are doing, except you don't have to hunt O-rings down, and it's a lot lower profile, and then you don't have to worry about your screws coming out when you unscrew it. So that's another thing you can do. Any other questions, hit me up, and I can do a quick video on anything you might see. And as far as, you know, your CG on this aircraft, what I usually do on here is mark the bottom, both sides, and then when I hold it up, I put it up and I put my fingers right on those marks, and I teeter it right on those marks. And this is my right hand, and what I do is I put it up about face level, and I put my left hand on the nose, and I just lift it up, and if my fingers are centered on that mark and it teeters forward, that's perfect. So either way, I know you guys are also changing your straps out just a little bit, but all I did on mine was on the wing side, I just laminated over the wing side. They're on extremely tight, and they don't come loose. And if I do land and they bump loose a little bit, that's what they're supposed to do. But this plane has been flown in crazy conditions and very fast and landed in rough areas, and I haven't had any problems with my wings coming loose. So there you go, guys.